Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. It's that time of month again for the Three Blind Mice build-off. This month's build is a 1966 Nova. We're going to take this car apart and we're going to do some custom stuff to it, fancy it up a little bit, maybe make it a little bit faster, but we're going to have a good time with this car. It's a beautiful car. I love the flames and everything on here, and it's almost a shame to paint over it, but I've only got one of these, so I've got to break it down and take it apart and do something fancy to it. Well, let's not hesitate. Let's go ahead and get started. I've already got the car drilled apart. And again, this is a new car. Well, it's been loose sitting around for a while, but the body's in great shape. We'll have to go ahead and get the holes drilled out for the screws underneath. Like I said, I really love the paint job on here, and hey, if I can find another one of these cars, I'll do something with it without changing the paint job on it. But it's got good lines to it, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing something fancy with it. We definitely need to do a wheel swap. I have to cut those tabs out there. Interior is in good shape. It is what it is. No big deal there. Windshield just needs to be polished up a little bit, and we'll take care of that too. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get that body in the paint stripper. Here we'll throw it in the citrus strip. We're going to be doing a complete color change, so we want to make sure we get the inside and the outside. So we'll cover it up completely and get all that old paint taken care of. I use my citrus strip for a long time. I just keep adding to it. So if that answers your questions. Here we're doing the wheel swap. Using a little bit of super glue. Put it right there where the tabs are. And I got some wheels from Treads 164 out of Malaysia. They got a really good product. And there's a bunch of other places out there that you can get wheels from. But these ones fit in perfectly. We'll snap that in place. That's looking good. These tires fit perfectly. And we'll take a little bit of this Instaset. Now I put some in a little bottle with a needle on it. So instead of spraying it all over the place, I can just put a couple of drops there and you don't have to make such a big mess. There, that's set up. Let's go ahead and move on. Here we've done the wheel swap on the back and on the front. Those wheels look excellent. Let's do some detailing. Here I've got my extra fine paint pen in black, and we're going to color in the grille. I did some searching online on Amazon, and I just did a search for extra fine tip paint pens, and this is what I came up with. They're only a few dollars a piece. And then I went ahead and I ordered some more paint pens of the different colors that I use for the fine details, like orange for the front markers and red for the rear markers, white for headlights. I got a silver marker that I use the Molotow chrome pen. Those also come in the extra fine tip. And I just set those aside. Now you can also use a toothpick with tester's paints, etc. to do your detail. It's completely up to you. Try them all, see which one you like better or which one's more in your budget, and they'll work out fantastic. Here's one headlight done, and we'll go ahead and do the other. If you make a mistake, get you a Q-tip with some lacquer thinner, clean that all out, and do it again. We'll go ahead and let that dry for a while, and then we'll take care of the taillights. And just a little bit more touch-up. But that looks good. Let's move on. Here we've got the body out of the stripper and all cleaned up. I want to put an engine in here, and I got this engine off of I want to say a 41 Willys. It was all, cheap plastic base and the plastic wheels and stuff, so I wanted the engine anyways. So we're going to cut a hole in the hood and make room for this top of the engine block there. Now the post is in the way, so we may have to put that engine back a little bit farther. But we'll go ahead and we'll get that all cut out and filed down and take care of that so we can get that engine block in there. This gives me a rough idea where I need to cut. All right. Here I've got it all marked out. Now I'm going to take a small drill bit and I'm going to drill out the corners of this square that I want to cut out. Got it all cut out. We just got to file it down now. So we're going to take this file and we're going to trim it up and clean it up. We did a good job cleaning up the body with the cut in it now. Look how nice it sits on that wheel change. And there's your engine. Look how nice that sits in there. That looks really cool. Now when we're all done and everything is said and done, we're going to take a Molotow chrome pen and we're going to clean up that engine and make it look really nice. Okay. Now it's time to start painting the body. Here I've got some white primer down. I used some Tamiya fine primer. On the sides of the car, we're going to go ahead and start with a coat of fluorescent orange. Now when you're using these Createx paints, they are water-based and they spray incredibly thin once you get them thinned down with the reducer and everything. You want to put just a few mist coats on there. You don't want to saturate this Createx paint because, like I said, it's extremely wet and it will run easily. Just use your airbrush, the air only from the airbrush in between painting so you can dry it up, and it dries really quick. That's what I wanted to do with the yellow fluorescent paint. Now I put some stripes down, some very thin pinstripes, and we're going to come back in with the fluorescent red. Just follow your pinstripes. Now I started getting a little bit heavy on here, a little heavier than I wanted to, but it still turned out nice in the long run. Just make sure that your tape is affixed properly and it doesn't have any gaps or it's separating from the body. That's looking all right. Now that we got the orange all sprayed down, we're going to go ahead and peel off the tape. You don't want to leave it on there too long because it'll start to leave a residue on your car. So as soon as you're done painting, while it's still probably wet, and again, this Createx paint does dry up fairly quick, go ahead and take off your tape so it doesn't leave a residue on your car. Just take the tape off in the reverse order that you put it on. Yeah, that blue tape doesn't stick too bad, but then once it sticks to itself, it stays. All right. Now we got some really cool stripes on the side there. That's looking pretty awesome. We're going to let this dry for just a bit. I would recommend that you let it dry, according to the manufacturer, at least 30 minutes before you start putting any other tape or anything on top of anything you just sprayed. So we'll let that set for just about half an hour and then we'll get back into it. Okay, I've taped off the orange and yellow area that I want to keep. And over the top of the car, we're going to go ahead and spray that white again. Now we got some blue tape down, and underneath that we've got some orange tape. This pinstriping tape. So we're going to use that to do the shield. We're going to paint the top of the car white again because I don't want the colors underneath to affect the top coat that I'm going to put on here in just a moment. So again, take your time. Oh, there's a little hair. Take your time and do the paint job that you want to do. And it's going to take some time. Just plan for it. Just don't let the paint build up too much because, again, you're going to have to let this set for a bit. Once it's dry, you can paint over the top, but the 30-minute wait is more for the strength or the adhesion to build up there. And that's not really the right words I'm looking for. It lets it harden enough to where you put tape over it, it's not going to peel the paint off underneath. Here we're putting on some iridescent purple. And I wanted to make sure that I had a nice clean coat underneath and not the yellow and the orange showing through where it would affect the color. So that's why I put the white down. Now I've got a stripe down the middle of the car with that blue tape, and we're going to put something inside there also once we get the purple done. Looking cool. Look how nice that turned out. It's got a nice pearlescent shimmer to it. And these Createx paints are fantastic. Now I get all my Createx paints at spraygunner.com. They've got a complete line of colors and the Auto Air paints and the Wicked Air paints. Fantastic product. Get a hold of spraygunner.com and let them know that Diecast Graveyard sent you. Here we're going to put a checkerboard pattern down the middle of the car. I cut up these individual pieces and I'm putting the checkerboard square, the finish flag square, the checkered flag squares down the center of the car. Again, spray lightly. If you spray too heavy, it will bleed underneath what you put down in the tape and it'll turn all muddy, and you don't want to do that. So just apply light mist coats and let it dry in between. Now again, I use the air from the airbrush. When I spray down a light coat, I'll use the air from the airbrush to dry the paint that I just put down. And then I'll put down a little more paint and then dry it, etc., etc. So nothing on this car is going to be a decal. This is all completely hand painted. And again, folks, you can do this. Just take your time and experiment. If you want to put some wild stripes down or some shades or some fogged in colors or whatever, experiment with it. You're going to have a lot of fun, I promise. So this is what it turned out like. I've got it all clear coated. Look how nice that turned out. Pretty wild paint job there for a pro stock or a street rod or whatever. But it looks really cool. I'm really happy with this. Looking good. We took the car apart. We already did the wheel swap. We cut the hole in the hood for the engine block, so that's going to look really cool. We did a really nice custom paint job, and then we went ahead and we clear coated everything. This 66 Nova looks hot the way it is, but you know what? There's always room for improvement, and that's what we do. We experiment with things, we paint, we mix colors, we try different shapes, and the worst that can happen is it messes up. You strip the paint and do it all over again. That's the beauty of this hobby. It's so much fun. And like I encourage you guys, you can do this. Take your time. Go to Walmart or Target or wherever, or flea market. Pick up some of these mainline cars. Take them apart. Start painting them. People use rattle cans and all that stuff. I prefer the airbrush. And you should too. You can get a lot more detail with an airbrush than a rattle can. And folks, here's what we got to. Look at how nice this turned out. With just a little bit of masking tape and some pinstriping tape and a little bit of alcohol. And it turns out pretty good. Couple adult beverages and you can come up with something really crazy. Now it's just up to your wild imagination as to how things turn out. Now again, this is a 3 blind mice build, and there's a lot of people participating in this build. So please check out the other 3 blind mice builds and have a lot of fun. Yes, it's a build off, but there's no winners or losers here. This is just my version of the 66 Nova. Now there's a bunch of other people that have done this too. Please check out their builds also. I want to thank George and Lee and Paul for hosting these 3 blind mice builds. Fantastic guys, love doing these builds, and these guys are fantastic. Subscribe to everybody's page, guys. They put out some really good videos. Have some fun. Now I've got a Patreon page. These folks subscribe to me and they donate their time and a little bit of money every month to help me maintain my YouTube page. Now what I do with that cash that they send me is I buy my supplies, I get my paints, I get my decals, all the other stuff that I need in order to keep this YouTube channel going. So if you want to become a member of the Diecast Graveyard Patreon team, I'll leave a link in the comments. Folks, I could use your help for sure. Thank you for watching my videos and subscribing and seeing what's going on. But if you want to help out, or if you want to send me some cars, or if you want me to restore or make something for you, contact me. In the About section on the video is my email address. Send me an email, a message, and like that. Let me know what you need or what you want, and we'll go from there for sure. Thanks to all my Patreon members and subscribers. I couldn't do it without you nice folks. Thank you for joining me today on Diecast Graveyard and the 3 Blind Mice build. Again, thanks to those gentlemen who put these on every month. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing. And have a great Memorial Day weekend. Thanks again.